Hello, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Cash Cannon. I'm the director of community programs for the Boston Celtics, and we're back for episode 2 of Learning Kitchen Live Celtics Takeover. I'm really excited for this episode because we are commemorating Juneteenth, and we'll talk a little bit about this. But we have a really fun live cooking demo planned for you again, and we have some really special guests. As you can see, our first guest standing right next to me is a scout and the assistant GM for the Maine Celtics, Ashley Battle. Welcome, Ashley. We also have Chef Elle Simone Scott. She's the executive editor for America's Test Kitchen. Welcome, Chef.
Thank you.
Last but not least, we have Valerie Machinist from Community Servings. She is a registered dietitian. All right, so here we go. Chef Elle, kick us off. What are we making today? Talk about the ingredients.
Okay, we're making vegan jollof rice, and it's a pretty easy dish, right? Like I chose it because I have a lot of friends who are vegan, and I want to always be making something that everyone can eat. The other reason I chose it is because we're celebrating Juneteenth, and a lot of people will want traditional dishes on the table. The main color, and maybe we'll get into this later, but the celebratory color of Juneteenth is red, right? You're supposed to bring red food, red drinks. This is reddish, and we're using tomato paste to kind of get that color. But it's what I like to call one pot shot.
Okay.
Everything in TV, we call it a dump and stir. You dump everything in the pan, you stir it, and then it's done.
I like that. Less
right?
dishes, too.
Way less dishes, and it feeds a multitude. So that's why I chose it.
Okay, I love it. I'm excited. I can eat it. I didn't get to eat the recipe last week, so I'm very excited to try this. Valerie, just for those of us who may be new, who are just tuning in, talk to us about your role and the mission of Community Servings.
So my role here at Community Servings is I'm the Director of Nutrition and Client Services. So I help manage our nutrition team and our client services team, the people who really work directly with the clients that we're serving. And Community Servings is an organization that provides medically tailored meals to individuals who are critically and chronically ill, and we deliver them to their homes. We've been doing this for about 33 years, and I love everything about this dish because it embodies a lot of the things that we try to focus on here with the food that we create. Things that are healthy, that are plant-based, but provide really good nutrition. So I'm really excited to see you create this today.
Awesome. I love creating nutrition-dense meals. Say that fast 3 times.
Right, that's tough.
Right?
All right. While you get started, I'm going to ask Ashley Battle just to talk more about her role, what she does for the Celtics.
Okay.
All right. Hi, everybody. I, too, am looking forward to this dish because I don't be cooking as much as I need to be cooking. You know, I order takeout and DoorDash all the time. So I know, I'm sorry, but maybe this will get me, in the mood to cook more.
Right, will.
Right. So my role with the Celtics, I am a scout and assistant GM of our G League team. So what is a scout per se? So I travel around the country looking for talent to see who's the next Jason Tatum, who's the next Jaylen Brown, and see how they would fit working with our team and the team that we currently have. And for Maine, I do pretty much the same thing and adding personnel to that roster as well, and then also putting out fires throughout the year.
All right, so Chef Elle, you put the oil in the pan. I have a question for, what type of oil did you use first?
This is vegetable oil.
Okay, vegetable oil.
It's a half a cup. Let me make sure I'm not lying to you.
Okay.
Yes, it is. It's a half a cup.
Half a cup.
It's a half a cup. I actually put on the fire, right?
There you go. That's important.
Yeah, you need that. You
Right.
need that. So it's kind of like on a medium high. So if you were home, it's best to, I always tell you, you need to have all your ingredients ready before you start cooking.
Yep.
It just keeps the drama down. So while this oil is heating, our onion is already chopped, and this is pretty much one large onion diced. It can be large diced, medium diced, but not too small.
Yellow, Spanish, white onion.
This is white.
Okay.
I like to make I like to make it with red onions, right?
Okay.
Red onions have a little bit more flavor,
Yep.
And it also helps to keep the color of jollof rice, like that reddish color. It
Yep.
kind of helps that process along, right? It stays on task.
Okay.
I have here 3 cloves of garlic. I actually have 4, and one is kind of small, so we're just going to use it. Now, my recipe will say you can smash the garlic, and you can definitely do that. It will still cook just fine. I like a more even distribution of garlic, so there's no wrong way for garlic here. That's really the honest answer. You know, I like to cook with no rules, so I'm gonna give you the least amount of rules possible.
I like that. And when a recipe says like a clove of garlic,
Yeah.
I always times that by 3.
Yeah.
Does everybody do that? I love garlic. Yeah.
Yeah.
See?
You can't have enough garlic.
Right.
No, you
Right.
can't go wrong with that. If it calls for garlic, then garlic it.
Times 3.
You know,
Right.
do
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
do it. So this is I'm just smashing the garlic. So if you're gonna chop your garlic, smashing is better because it just makes it easier to manage. Like it's obviously slightly rounded, and they can kind of roll around. You know, you don't need that. You want to be cooking as safe as possible. So smashing it works, and you could just kind of drop those in there like that if you want. I'm gonna just kind of give it like a rough chop to get some more pieces.
Okay.
Right.
Valerie, I have a quick question for you. So there's not a ton of ingredients here, which makes me think this is a low-cost meal. Could you provide us with some tips and advice on how to eat healthy on a budget?
Absolutely, and that's a great question. Something that we always talk about here with our clients and with anyone who's interested in that is, first and foremost, shopping for things that are on sale, but also looking to items that you might not think of as healthy, but really are healthy. So frozen fruits and vegetables, frozen, you can even buy many meats that are frozen already. Canned vegetables, especially if they're the no salt added kind, those are perfectly healthy and they're very shelf stable. So if you buy things and don't use them right away, they're not going to spoil. Same with frozen things. So, and staples like onions, rice, those tend to be fairly affordable, but always looking for store brands when they're available. And, you know, relying again on things that are shelf stable, affordable. You can find almost everything canned or frozen, and those things are really quite healthy for you. Frozen fruits and vegetables are generally picked, like blanched to retain the nutrients, and then processed, so they retain actually sometimes more nutrients than something that's been sitting out in the supermarket for a week or more.
That's good to know.
That was a great gem. That was a great piece of advice. Okay, I didn't know that.
There you go.
I don't know. I'm about to step back.
Just get as close. Don't use your hand. Just get as close in as possible.
Don't put your hand on the food,
I was
AB.
about to be
like
Salt Bay out here.
No.
You'll be grease bay if you do it like that.
So
Yeah.
what am I doing?
Should we back up?
No, you don't have to back up. Just go in. Yep. Good job.
All right.
Now look at these skills.
Chef Elle,
Yes.
onion. If I don't have my contacts in
Mhm.
when I'm cutting onion, it makes me cry.
You want me to tell you how to not cry?
Yes.
Okay.
And not have to wear contacts just to cut onions.
All right. So I have a couple of tricks. Yeah, you can stir it up. I'll take that. So I have a couple of tricks. Some old tricks of the trade I learned working on the cruise ship.
Okay.
You can take some saran wrap and make a visor for yourself.
Okay.
Right? That's one way. That's the fun way.
Okay.
You can also, I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit for you because we need to put these so they're translucent. You can also, when you cut your onion, if you run it under cold water or so you can run the onion under cold water kind of constantly, and that kind of keeps the gases away.
Yep.
Another thing I like to do is maybe keep like a container with cold water in it. You can dip your knife in there, and that gets the onion juice off, because it's really just the gas that the onions give off that make you cry,
Right.
not the actual onion. So if you can find a way to keep the gas low, which is dipping the knife in cold water or running the onion under cold water or making a cellophane visor, which is actually the best way.
I feel like Ashley Battle will definitely put
I
the
was gonna
saran
say
wrap
you
on
was
her.
gonna do the saran wrap on your head. I would kind of look kind of superhero like.
It is very superhero.
You know,
I
like-
like it.
What was it? Meteor Man. He kind of looked like he had saran wrap. Saran wrap. on.
It
Try
works.
it.
It works.
AB, I'm going to give you the mic right back. Nutrition. This is a very healthy meal. We have healthy ingredients. So I wanted to talk about your journey. You played basketball at UConn. You won a little bit.
A lot of it.
You was a decent player. You performed pretty well. And then you went on to the WNBA, right?
Good.
So you was a pro. I don't even know if they're catching these comments, but talk to us about nutrition. Talk to us about the role that nutrition played in your life or plays in your life, and when in your career did nutrition become important, if it wasn't always important?
Right. Nutrition's always been really important. I think throughout my life, my mom is pretty much a health nut. So we've always had, Southern African American food, but then also a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruits, a lot of things like that. So my mom juices almost every day. So I also enjoy having one of her freshly squeezed juices as well. So going into college, we would have, a lot of different things available to us to eat. And we would go out to dinner and have pretty nice restaurant quality food. And then pros is really where you kind of have to monitor what you're eating and what you're putting into your body, because you're on your own and you want to make sure that you're doing the right thing. So you have people to talk to and people who can help you really kind of narrow down what is really good. And I also played professionally in Europe, and the food over there is just way different, way fresher. I'm sorry, but it is. And burn. I'm sorry, America, but it is. And it's just, it's lighter, and, just really you can take more in, and it's not going to really sit on your stomach that much. So, and today I really gotta watch now because, at this big age, things,
21?
this big age of 21,
Yeah.
plus a couple years, you gotta really monitor, what you're putting into your body and what you're, what I'm doing. I don't burn as much calories as I used to burn, and, eating a meal that could be like 1,000 calories, it just hit and stick a little differently than what it did in the past.
Yeah.
Well, you still look like a pro. So whatever you're doing, yeah, I got you.
It's the juices,
right?
It's the morning juices.
Yes.
Chef Elle, so the recipe's called jollof rice.
Yes.
Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yes. Foreign American, yes.
What's the proper pronunciation?
That kind of
I am American also. I'm just
that
saying
was you just
there's
fired a shot,
well,
Chef
this
Elle.
is an African dish, and accents play a role in how things are pronounced. So as an American, that was appropriate,
Okay.
right?
All right.
We're pronouncing all the letters here. Jollof rice.
Okay, all right.
Yes. No burn.
So,
no burn.
It's like a hot debate across like West African cultures who makes the best jollof rice.
I've heard this.
What do you
before.
think? So you have to be careful because this is live and you don't know who's watching it. But based on your experience, right, and your expertise, which culture takes the crown?
I'm going to tell you that I have only
Careful.
had one jollof rice in one original place, and that's in Nigeria. So considering that is my context, I'm going to say Nigeria. I mean, that's
Wura is Nigeria, so
it is Wura. It's the reason I'm making this, because I'm like, if she likes it, then it's good, you know. But I have never had it the way that I'm making it today, right? Well, prior to making this, I've never had it this way because it usually involves meat, right? Like this is a dish that
every single version usually.
Every single version I've ever had,
Okay.
right? Like even here in America, the ones that I've had have meat in it, right? So, you know, I think all of the ingredients are delicious. I don't think there's any wrong way.
Yep.
I think that comparing jollof rices is just a way to keep us divided. We need to come together, right? We need to come together. But I can only speak about what I know, and this is what I know. And I love Nigerian jollof rice. It's my favorite.
Okay.
We're ready to add some more ingredients here.
Talk us through it.
So we have some dry spices. We have ginger. We have curry. There's some rosemary here. There's some dry thyme. You can use fresh rosemary here if you want. You can use almost fresh, all of these things if you really wanted to.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is there a difference? Is the quantity different if I'm using fresh versus dried, or is it the same?
Some might say yes. I feel like when you're using dry spices, they've kind of gone through more of a process, so it probably has a slightly less nutritional value and thus also less potent. When you use fresh anything, you know, like
Fresh is best.
it's best, right? And in a way that if you use the same measurement, it's not wrong, you know. So I think it's okay.
Okay.
So I'm adding these here. This method is kind of like blooming. Like anytime you're cooking with dry spices, you kind of have to bloom them to get the flavor out. You don't have to really do that with fresh spices.
What does bloom mean?
So it's basically using heat to activate the molecular properties of it, and it makes it active, right? Just see how we weren't even stirring, and it's already kind of turning yellow in the places where the curry hit.
Yep.
That's because the heat is kind of doing the activation for us, right?
It's activating, all right. It's smelling.
It's smelling good.
It smells really good.
That's what I want.
Activation.
So we're gonna use some better than bouillon. In this, if you were not trying to make this vegan, you could use the chicken bouillon. This one is a vegetable. I like better than bouillon because they come vegetable, chicken, beef, obviously. You only need a little bit of this stuff. It's pretty, it's pretty potent. I'm gonna add a little salt.
Chef.
I'm gonna add a little salt. I usually like for people to salt their own food, but as I've been developing this recipe over the weeks, I found that a little. You want to do a little?
Yes, because I want to be salt based.
Do it. Do it. Fine.
You got more on the stove than you did in the pot.
You're probably right. She had it somewhere already, though. It's all right.
It was just for show.
It was for show.
All right. So as you can smell it, it's blooming, and it's gonna stick to the pan a little bit, right? Because you know, we're adding some dried spices to this mixture, and it sticks. But we're gonna add I'm not gonna jump the gun. Let's stay here.
Okay.
Let's stay here. So we've added the spices. This cooks about 2 minutes, right? And you're stirring it, trying to make sure you get it all in there. You'll know when you kind of hit your 2-minute mark when it starts to stick to the bottom like that. You see it?
I see it.
Yep.
We call that fond, right?
Fond, okay.
Fond. Anytime your meat, sauce, juices, little vegetables stick to the pan, it's called fond. And you're going to use liquid to get that fond out. That adds flavor to the food.
Okay.
So we're adding tomato paste that's been diluted with about maybe a tablespoon or so of water.
Okay. Tomato paste, not tomato sauce.
Correct.
What's the difference?
Tomato paste is kind of it's like when you've extracted all the moisture you absolutely can out of tomatoes, it will automatically turn into a paste. Tomato sauce usually has some other ingredients like spices in it, and it retains, you know, it's bottled to retain the moisture.
That is looking good. Valerie, I have a question for you. So this meal is like rice and vegetables, like the onions and spices.
Ooh.
Is this considered a full meal? And if not, what makes a dish a well-balanced meal?
It's a full meal in the sense that eating this would be filling. Like you would feel good after eating it. It is not going to be super high in protein. There is some protein in the rice, but if you wanted to add a little bit more substance to the final dish, you could serve it with a side of protein. It probably would not be traditional to add beans or anything to this, I don't think. But sometimes, like if you're making a rice-based dish, putting beans in can add some protein and fiber to it. Or you could just serve it with the protein of your choice on the side, like grilled chicken, fish, tofu, any kind of options like that. I actually, if you don't mind, I have a question for Chef.
Yeah.
What is your thought about using tomato paste in broths that are sodium-free versus some that have salt in them?
I feel like I personally like to stray away from anything that has too much sodium in it. Like if I can find a product that is low sodium or sodium free, because I believe that sodium is a person's right or choice, right? Like you should be able to determine how much sodium you want in your meal on your own. And tomato paste, if it's a good brand of tomato paste, it already has low sodium. It should really just be, I think they use like a citric acid and tomatoes, right? That should be the only ingredient in your tomato sauce or paste, right? So you shouldn't really have to worry about that sodium too much. But as long as you can use those sodium items, I recommend it. I recommend it.
That's looking really, really good.
Yeah, it's time to add some rice. You want to put the rice in there?
Hey, Ash.
Ash, you got this. So just flip it, dump it, hit the bottom of this thing.
And what kind of rice is this?
Put it all the way over. This is a parboiled
triangle rice.
This is parboiled rice that you can find. I got this one from Walmart. You know, I don't know if I could have or was supposed to say that, but sorry. I can get it from our
marketing
local grocery store.
Okay.
Yeah, it just got a little stiff because I rinsed it and I left it in there. You wouldn't normally have to do that. This is the kind of stuff that when you're on TV you don't have to worry about because we just cut to a break.
It's great being live.
Yeah, I love being live. It's my favorite. This is real. So to kind of break down our rice pyramid, I'm going to use the 4 cups of
That's
broth.
Veggie broth, right?
Yeah, veggie broth.
Okay.
Just so y'all know, there's 4 cups in a quart. This is a quart, so this is everything you need, right? Okay. And you know that fond that was on the bottom of the pan?
Yep.
You're going to use your bachelor, your spatula.
Okay.
To kind of scrape that up. And going to just stir it. And we're almost actually, once we hit this point, we're actually pretty ready to get it in the oven.
All right, perfect. So, I have a question for you, Chef. So you talked about how red is a big thing for Juneteenth,
yes.
right? Like red foods. So if we are preparing for a Juneteenth barbecue, Juneteenth is on June 19th, by the way. If we are preparing for a Juneteenth celebration this weekend, what types of food could we make?
So
I'll start off with one. I heard red velvet cake is a must.
I mean, you know, like you can really go crazy with it. You like, you know, I'm from the Midwest, right? So like for us, spaghetti and fried fish is
spaghetti and fried fish.
Yes, together. Yep, spaghetti and fried fish. That's a meal.
That's a fact.
That's a meal. So that would be our red.
Okay.
It's not unusual to make red drinks, right? And you can use what's
Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid or sorrel.
Kool-Aid,
right?
Daiquiri.
Yes.
What's that?
Strawberry daiquiri.
Yes. Anything red is the tradition.
Okay.
I did not grow up celebrating Juneteenth because it's not something we really celebrate in the Midwest, right?
Yep.
That's the story of Texas, right? And so that's kind of their thing. But now, you know, like I feel like now that there's such awareness about it, I think it's important. You know, sometimes I think like, what a shame we didn't grow up knowing to celebrate that, you know.
Right.
But we do now, and a lot of companies do. I'm very proud that America's Test Kitchen has, over the past 3 years, recognized it as a federal holiday, right, as it should be, and you know, we have the day off, right? And
we do.
I'm very proud of that.
I'm excited about that.
So
do you have the day off, Ashley, or do you have to go and watch basketball?
I gotta go in the office. The draft is the 22nd, so I really don't get very many holidays off. Now that I think about it.
Tell it like it is.
I mean, Christmas we plan. Thanksgiving we plan. What else is out there? President's Day. All major holidays we plan. Easter we plan. You know, we're playing most of the time.
But you get seats at the playoff games.
That's also very nice.
I'd rather be doing that than cooking.
But we, you know, I will say, you know, when America's off, we provide a lot of entertainment for everyone who's at home. So it's pretty special to be able to play games on national holidays.
AB,
I appreciate it.
Question for you,
Sure.
Because I'm really inspired. I'm inspired by the fact that there's 4 women here, right? It's like a female takeover, and I love that. So I want you to talk to us about your role and what it's like being a female in a male-dominated role, such as, one, being an assistant GM, but also just the scouting job.
Right. So the scouting job, you know, you can be very embraced, you know, because I'm out all the time, and oftentimes I'm probably one of 2 women that's among the scouts out there. And sometimes there's more, but most of the time I'm probably the only one there. And for example, I was in Vegas last week, and this is probably like the negative version of it, is like you picture a table. There was 4 guys at one table. I was kind of sitting in between the tables, and then there was another 4 guys to the right of me. And someone came up and dapped all the 4 guys to the left of me up, skipped me, and dapped everybody else up. And so I'm like, but no one else pays attention to that, you know? And so I'm not one sometimes to hold my tongue. So I don't know this guy from a can of paint, but I know that everybody else don't know him either. And so I got up, tapped him on the shoulder, and I just said, hey, so you just gonna literally dap everybody up and not dap me up? I'm like, yeah, man, that's messed up. And so, you know, that's, you know, just something that you notice is that oftentimes they'll just overlook a woman that's in the room. And so sometimes you got to let it be known, like, hey, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. And you're going to recognize me just as you recognize my male counterparts. And then, you know, the great thing about it, you know, if I'm on the road, like a lot of the guys, they really just embrace you as like their sister, and they make sure that you're good, that you have everything. If you need a ride, or, you know, if you have questions, like everyone's really just open and ready to help for the most part.
I love that. I'm sure it's uncomfortable at times, but you wear it well, and you're blazing the trail for others. So I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Chef Elle, talk to us about what it's like being a female in the culinary industry. What would you say the ratio is between male chefs, female chefs, and how has your experience been, especially as a woman of color as well?
Yeah, well, I would say maybe now the ratio from male to female is probably something like maybe 60-40 still.
60 male.
60 male, 40 female. And then women of color, I would say of that, we might make up 15 to 20%. And then women of color in ownership is probably about 5%, maybe somewhere between 2.5 and 5. You know, I fortunately have not had to, you know, like I came into culinary media. Cooking is my second career, right? So I was a social worker for many years. And so by the time I got into the cooking arena, I was not with the mess. Like I'm not taking it, you know, I'm like you. I'm like I'm going to address it immediately, you know, if I feel anything. Also, I mean, I think being a woman in the industry kind of really taught me like self-worth, right? Like I don't want to work in places where people don't acknowledge me. You know, I don't want to work. And in this industry, you have the opportunity to kind of like bounce around and find your place, which I'm sure Ash doesn't really have that same, opportunity. Like sometimes your dream job is the crappy environment, you know, or comes with, you know, even mine still comes with, you know, different things. But I think in the spirit of Juneteenth, right, like, when you see an injustice happening, even if it is to yourself, you have to be like strong and brave enough to deal with it immediately, right? Like Juneteenth is a celebration of people who were enslaved and did not know that slavery had been emancipated for a very long time, right? It's because somehow, some way, no one was able to inform these people or be like, you know, or to get to the people who were still perpetuating the crime of enslavement and checking them when it shouldn't have been happening, right? So like the only way we can continue as women of color, women leaders, women in underrepresented fields, is to just like be, you know, constantly being vocal about it. Like I only mentor women of color who want to be food stylists, right? Because I can still count on one hand how many women of color food stylists there are in the entire culinary media industry.
Wow.
In the entire industry, men included. I still got fingers left, maybe 2 hands with fingers left, right? So, you know, that's kind of how I rock with it. I'm like you, like,
what's up?
Like, I'm here, right? Like, don't make me throw these hot grits on you.
Not the hot grits.
Just kidding. I would never throw hot grits.
Throwing the grits.
I will give you cold grits. All right, I'm going to cover this and put it in the oven. It needs 45 minutes.
So you would say it simmers uncovered for about how long?
You don't really have to do that. I just did that because we were still talking and I wanted to give it a little less time in the oven, more time in our bellies.
Okay, I like that.
So I made that choice. But once it has been all stirred together, you can turn it off, put it in the oven 45 minutes at 350 degrees.
Okay.
And your work is done.
Okay.
Done.
All right. So we got another 45 minutes to wait. And, stay tuned. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
Play the Jeopardy music.
Right. Valerie, I have a question. I don't want to play the Jeopardy music. I'd rather hear from you. So our involvement, the Celtics' involvement in the Learning Kitchen Takeover was inspired by a program called Spread the Health that the Boston Celtics run in partnership with Point 32 Health. And so we focused on highlighting health disparities in the Black community and then providing information and resources that address that. Could you talk to us about the role that community servings plays in helping people of color combat and mitigate any chronic disease that's nutrition related?
Sure. So community servings focus first and foremost is on feeding people with critical and chronic illness in the greater Boston area. What we do see is that many of our clients are individuals of color, live in communities that don't have great access to health care or nutrition. So we are working every day to feed everybody who has a need for food that's going to make them get healthier. But the vast majority of our clients experience incredible food insecurity, are people of color, and have serious illnesses. So our goal is to feed them food that's going to help them get better.
We didn't have to wait 45 minutes.
No, I would never make you wait 45 minutes.
Okay, so what do we have?
Hopefully we have some delicious rice.
The big
The
reveal.
big reveal? Okay. All right.
La la.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Not
That
so
looks
red, but
delicious.
like that's something we can work on.
Yeah, it still looks delicious.
It is pretty tasty. Ash cut our garnishes earlier, so I'm gonna.
You cut that?
I did. I was getting my chef on.
Okay. Ashley is very close to our team chef, and he says that Ashley should be a food critic. So I'm excited for you to. I don't know if that's because you're critical or you just enjoy food.
It's
probably
both.
Okay.
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit of both, but I do enjoy food. I do have a shellfish allergy, unfortunately, but it's nothing a little bit of drill can't
Gosh.
can't help.
Not on
Don't
my
recommend
watch.
it. Don't recommend it. Don't do that. However, I do enjoy food a lot, and it is something that I have been blessed to experience different parts of the world and their culture and how they embrace food. So for me, it's a part of me. It's a part of my family, and now a part of my culture is just experiencing different things.
Love that.
I am a horrible chef. I didn't give us any bowls. I didn't think about that. And you asked me, what did I need?
I'll use this.
All right. So
Okay.
here, I will. What you gonna do
Yeah.
with this? We got spoons.
So we have some tasting spoons.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and put the garnish on. Here we go.
Excited.
Thank you. All right. Unified dig. Let's go.
Unified dig.
It's really good. It's like savory.
Yeah.
The rice is cooked perfectly. Ashley, let me be quiet. Let me let the food critic talk about it.
Now remember, you want my restaurant referral.
I do want the restaurant referrals. Just like Cash said, the rice is cooked perfectly. You can taste all of the ingredients that we put in. Need a little bit more salt.
For me.
Just a little bit. But the ingredients that we put in, all the different spices, each and every one of them kind of comes out, and you can taste it. It's very flavorful, very savory. Cash is vegan, so this is perfect for her. I'd probably prefer a little bit of protein in there. But either way, I think it's very delicious.
Checks in the mail, Ash. Thanks so much.
I love it. So this is it. I love that it was so quick. A lot of us are really busy. So I love a meal that I can make in, 45 minutes or less. So we appreciate it.
Yeah.
What I really love about this too is that it's made with ingredients that are super available to everybody and affordable. So this is healthy and can fit into anyone's diet, and most people have access to the ingredients here.
I would never make a recipe where I didn't feel like accessibility couldn't, like if accessibility is an issue, I'm not going to make it.
I think that's super important.
I'm not going to make it. Also, just so you know, these ingredients, you can make this 2 times for $27. All total ingredients, $27, 2 batches, and everything that, with the exception of the green onions, is shelf stable. And it, like, if you bought it to make it twice, you could buy everything in advance, right? The bouillon stays good for a very long time. Unopened, the chicken stock is shelf stable. Tomato paste is shelf stable. All of the dried seasonings we used are shelf stable. So, like, all you would ever have to go out and get is maybe a fresh onion, garlic, and scallions. If you wanted scallions on the top, So mostly everything, I like pantry-friendly dishes, stuff you have at home. You can add some chicken thighs in here. That'll add a little unctuousness to it, Yeah, I love this dish. Jollof rice for the win.
All right, thank you. We have some time back, so if anyone has any questions, feel free to write them in the chat. Otherwise, we are going to dig in on this incredible dish. I'm excited. Thank you for tuning in for episode 2 of the Learning Kitchen Live Celtics Takeover. We'll be back next week, Thursday, June 22nd. Okay, same place, same time, 5 o'clock. Have a great weekend. I hope you all celebrate Juneteenth. Make some red dishes. Have fun with your family. So this is live. Have fun with your family. Just have a good time. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Peace.